Good morning, my brothers and sisters in Christ, and welcome to our second segment of our Throwback Thursdays. We continue to pray God's richest blessings upon you all. This morning, our topic will be looking at the various Jewish sects of the time of Jesus. The various Jewish sects of the time of Jesus. When thinking about the different ways in which the Jews had separated themselves, one must understand that they did this for the reason of understanding best what should I do in order to get the Messiah to come. And so in trying to advance in these thinkings, there became four distinct groups of Jewish sects. Firstly, we have the Sadducees. The Sadducees, they were known as the rich aristocrats of the time. They, along with the Pharisees and the scribes, usually went out and oppressed the persons of the town. They seemed as if they were better than other persons, and they had close status with the rich elites of the Roman government. And for this reason, the way they acted and the way they treated persons was seemingly in contrary to what was taught and practiced of the Jewish law and in the Jewish Bible. For this reason, their perspectives seemed to be a little different than what the others were doing. For this wealth and security, they seemed as if this elite status was their salvation. Coming now to our second group, our friends, the Pharisees, which many of us are familiar with. And of course, Jesus encountered these persons many times. The Pharisees were considered religious leaders at the time, and they enforced the practicing of the law and what Moses taught as the way in which to make the Messiah come. The idea of constantly being faithful to these purity laws, to going to the temple and making sacrifices, was what was needed, according to the Pharisees, to make the Messiah come. Next, we have the Zealots. The Zealots were the fighters. These were the ones who believed that the Messiah was to come from within, that someone was to rise up and claim this status as Messiah, to go and defeat Rome, and in turn bring back the salvation of them having restored their kingdom. This was seen on many occasions. However, in 70 AD, the final fall, when Rome burned down the second temple, and many of the Jews fled out of Jerusalem. Lastly, we have the Essenes. The Essenes can be viewed as the ascetic group of persons. They retreated into the desert and fasted and prayed and studied the scriptures and felt as if this was the way in which the Messiah was to come. That through these diligent efforts and faithfully practicing the denying of self and increasing of the spiritual, it will incline the Messiah to come. And so with all of these different ideas or perspectives of how the Messiah was to come, kind of had the Jewish people divided to some degree. And when Jesus came, Jesus put into effect, because he met with all these groups of persons and tried to advocate that all of it, that we do need to observe the law, that we do need time to fast, time to pray, and be in a personal relationship with God. And of course, we must rise up to overthrow the evil in the world through the help of God. This morning, I wish for us to reflect upon these various groups of persons in the Jewish community at the time of Jesus, to give us a better understanding and idea of what Jesus was going through, the kind of people that Jesus encountered. Today, let us reflect on the things in which they did and how Jesus responded to them, so that we do not fall into these traps and understand that it's only through Christ is our true salvation. I am the Reverend Scott Jupp, and may the Lord be with you.